Hello, everyone, and welcome to the On Air podcast with your hosts, Stephen Hudson, Paul O'Flaherty, and David Gall. The On Air podcast is the official podcast for Geek Dimensions and everyone living a geek's life. Hello, everybody. It's Stephen Hudson bringing you another episode of the Geek Dimensions On Air podcast with my good friends, Paul O'Flaherty and David Gall. All of us seem to have had a little bit of a long week of work, so we want to get together, sit down, relax, chat a little bit about some geek fun stuff, see if any of it gets under our skin or makes us laugh. And just to start off with, let's sort of have that banter type thing that you're supposed to do on these things. How are you, Paul? I know, tired.
He looks tired.
This is me giving you the banter.
Yeah, it's about as much banter as you want to get into, right?
It's not as much banter as Yeah, no, it's just been a rough week, man. It's, there's times when being a tech and marketing consultant freelance is great fun and it's the best job in the world.
Yeah, and you get called to do typo repairs.
Then there's times where I'm like, yeah, no. Yes, I literally had somebody try to get me into the office this week to fix what they called was a typo in 2 PDF documents, which actually was not a typo. It was they wanted a specific word replaced multiple times in each document with a different word. That is not a typo. Now, all they had to do to fix this was open up the document in Word and do.
And I think we might have lost Paul right in the middle of his repertoire.
Fair enough. Good timing to
yes
slap somebody in the face with a little bit of Control F logic. Fair enough. That's always frustrating.
Yeah. How has your week been?
Pretty solid. Not a whole lot going on. Been enjoying the stream itself and playing a little bit of Landmark with everybody. So it's been kind of fun.
Okay, we've got you guys back. Yes.
Yeah.
What happened?
Just lost call. Couldn't get you back.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised you have internet today, or power for that matter. Were you guys ripped up pretty bad?
Not really. We lost a few limbs off the trees. That was about it. Our neighbors, on the other hand, friends that were just at our house, like while the last podcast was being recorded, like got flooded, literally house flooded.
Yeah, that's no good.
All the asphalt torn off their driveway, their fences knocked down and everything. Oh.
Well, now that we got the call, let's just carry on because I can fix whatever needs to be fixed in editing. Just take a minute anyway. But
last thing I said that you got.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. No, we got you. You were telling us about the typos.
Yes. About to slap somebody with some Control F logic is what it sounded like.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you've got, you want a specific word replaced multiple times across 2 documents. First off, that's not a damn typo. That's you wanting changes made. Right? But these are changes that anybody who can open a Word document can make and then hit, save as PDF. You can do it. Your secretary can do it. Your receptionist can do it. Why the hell you feel the need to call a consultant in to do it is beyond me. But you know what? I do charge I do have a minimum time block, so.
Yeah, and you can't ask for a much better call, honestly. Something that you just know, you can be done with it, and you can be on your way.
I know, but it's kind of insulting. I don't know. It's kind of the thing that I feel is beneath me. Maybe it's not that it's beneath me, but there's still a part of me that is sort of goes, you do realize you're spending money on this, right?
You feel like they should know better. You feel like they should know better and at least be able to Google this stuff. But when you get into telling them those trade secrets like Google, you run the risk of running yourself out of business.
Dude, there is so many times I just want to send them the JFGI link. So many times.
Let me Google that for you.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I prefer to just fucking Google it.
Do you think that Putin found out through Google that the internet was a CIA project, or did he just sort of come across this intelligence on his own?
I can't believe it. It's common knowledge that it was a military project to begin with, so I'm not quite sure why he thinks that would be a big reveal.
I don't either, because anybody that's been around the internet for any length of time knows it was a DARPA project.
But there's your problem.
Oh, true.
There's your problem. That means all the geeks, all the bloggers, all the tech writers, which probably makes up about 0.5% of.
And we are a very vocal 0.5%.
We're not Fox News watchers here.
Oh.
Ouch. I don't know. But, here's the thing. Why would they want to put out, I'm still struggling with this idea. What could be gained by him saying that? Is he just trying to deflect what they're doing? Or I don't get it. Why? What's the point?
Trying to get cred.
It's politics, man. It's all deflection. He
wants cred. For housing Snowden, he's getting that internet street cred.
Yeah, even though Snowden came out and made an ass of him on TV.
Absolutely. He's showing that he's on the people's side. He's looking out for your best interest on the internet. Putin cares.
Yes, as long as your best interest is his interest.
How about a company's best interest with Hulu? This one really got me. They are blocking VPN users globally. There is no difference where you are from.
I'm surprised it took this long because Hulu is so in bed with networks, and in fact, I'm willing to bet that this is probably one of their content providers was pressing them to get this change implemented. I doubt they would have done this on their own accord, but somebody probably got pissed off that some dude in the Ukraine was watching, American Dad, and wanted to make sure that we cut that out.
The logic here, right, is, okay, so some dude in the Ukraine is watching American Dad, but he's obviously paying for his goddamn Hulu subscription, right?
It's free. Hulu is, commercially provided or commercially funded, but it's still free.
If you're going to go through the process of actually watching it through a VPN, the chances are you're paying for the service. Because if you're that tech savvy, you're probably going to be using, a VPN or a proxy for getting stuff via BitTorrent at a better quality.
Sure. Or even just watching YouTube videos or anything that's region restricted. My question this brings up for me is, what do you really get out of a Hulu subscription?
I don't know.
Oh.
Do you still have to watch commercials?
Dude, I don't know if things have changed or not, but about 3 years ago, I think we did the 1 month trial of Hulu. You get the full thing, and there is just as many commercials.
The following is presented by. I hate that guy.
So what's the point?
I don't know. What's the point?
Especially if you can't even watch it outside of the viewing area where I couldn't normally pick it up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not just the people outside the viewing area, outside of the 49th parallel and the Mexican border and two oceans. It's the people right inside the U.S. who are paying for the service but still using a VPN. They're getting blocked.
Yeah.
That's got to be such a small number of people anyway. It should be a bigger number.
There's a lot of people out there that do everything. Well, a lot of tech savvy people out there that do everything by VPN. Especially with all these latest NSA applications.
Yeah, Hulu sucked before, it still sucks, and it will continue to suck.
All right, sticking with...
can we just wrap up this part of the show with what David just said, and just said, look, Hulu sucks balls. That's it. Go to a better...
All right, how about the DreamWorks CEO opening his mouth and putting his foot in it this week, where he says, the cost of video purchases should depend on screen size. 60-inch televisions are $4. Phones are $2.
I can see the reasoning for and obviously against, but I don't know. In some way, it does cost more to deliver higher resolution content in different ways. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely more expensive for just say Netflix if they stream 4K content, or if and when they do. It would cost Netflix more to stream 4K content than it would 480p or 720p even to anyone. It's just higher bandwidth cost, and it takes more time. It's more effort, more resources, more storage space required for them to host it somewhere. In some ways, I could understand why that would be. I'd have to see, I guess, in practice how that works out, and let's get a real world example of it and see if it's actually a reasonable price increase before, jumping behind it or railing on him for it.
I'd like to agree with you. It just strikes me as how can you justify saying to someone, okay, you're using a phone, it's going to cost you $2. But if you want to watch that on so you grab it for $2. Then you decide you want to watch it on your 60-inch television. So you got to pay another $5, $4, or whatever. To me, that does not make sense. It doesn't take them any extra effort because it's on your end that it gets blown up to the right size.
Right.
It's still the same number of bits coming through the line.
Well, I mean, it would be more if the video was a higher resolution. If it's just the same 1080p video on your phone and on your TV, that it would not make any sense to increase the price for that. But if, say, we're talking the difference in 480p and 4K, I don't know. I like I said, I can see that going both ways. Not a huge fan of anything that seems unreasonable, but this, I don't know. This can go both ways. So we'll have to see, like I said, a real world example, and then we kind of take a look at it in practice.
What do you think, Paul, about this kind of scaling of price?
There's only one sort of legitimate reason for this, which is the amount of bandwidth that it takes to deliver is quite obviously different.
Why? It's the hardware on your end that is going to scale the image, not what's coming through the pipe. It's going to still be the same number of bits, isn't it?
No. It's not going to be the same number of bits. If you send me a 480p or a 720p or a 1080p, they're all encoded at different bit rates. There's going,
No. Yeah, I know that, but what they're saying in this post is that they're talking 1080p size.
Right. They're saying if it's the same resolution on a smaller screen or a bigger display, in which, like I said, it makes no sense if we're talking the same resolution, but I can understand why if we're talking the difference in mobile size and 4K or something, you could argue that it makes a little bit of sense because their cost is probably substantially higher to stream content like that.
No, their cost is not substantially higher. Okay, maybe the jump to 4K.
Well, to relative scale, yeah, relative to that scale.
Anything else really isn't. Look, how many price scales are you going to have?
Really?
Yeah.
Right? You can get a screen now, everything from 3 inches to, 80 inches. And how are you going to know when I hook this baby up to my projector and I give myself
I was exactly going to say that is, where does a projector fit into this?
Right. This isn't a surprising move. It's a bollocks move, but it's not a surprising move. All these companies, entertainment companies, everybody is looking for every way to double charge, nickel and dime everybody for everything, and basically, charge you as many times as possible for the same piece of content. Okay?
It's good to see the DreamWorks CEO is concentrated on this instead of making more content for us to stream in the first place.
Yeah, we know where.
A lot more money. Put out content that people actually want to pay for and make it easy to get legally.
Exactly. How does the movie industry make money? They make things that people want to buy.
Yeah. That's a lesson that Atari should have learned back at the 2600 time of console games. But apparently, for years there's been this urban legend around the Atari ET game that it was so bad that they yanked everything they possibly could off the shelves, out of the warehouse, and they buried it all in a landfill site. Now, an entertainment company out of Canada, was approached by Microsoft, or the other way around, and what they're doing is they're making a and this is to answer your pre-show question, David. They are making a documentary of this urban legend, with the end result being them actually finding the ET cartridges in the landfill.
I'm not sure how that makes me want to buy an Xbox or anyone to buy.
No, it's part of their entertainment package. You know, like they've got 6 series coming that'll be coming to the Xbox. You know, it's part of their entertainment arm. And I guess they figured this would be a good way to kickstart it. I don't know. As cool as that was, that it was found and it was documented, pictures, video, news, you name it. It was covered left, right, and center. Within 2 days, there were people on the net saying it was a hoax. It was a fraud.
Of course. I mean, I don't know anything about Atari packaging, but it looked real. It's a hell of a lot of equipment and effort to go out there just to fake something that is kind of dumb in the first place.
Well, I think the problem was because it was an urban legend, and they wanted to prove that it actually existed. That was the impetus behind doing the documentary. And I guess the deal with Microsoft came along for the Xbox One exclusive for that documentary. But I know the internet can be full of idiots. We deal with them every day. But come on, people, how hard is it to say, yeah, there's video, there's pictures, there's news people. Like, how can you turn around and say that was all fake or a fraud? I don't get it.
Really,
I love it.
Stephen? Really? They faked the bloody moon landing. You think they can't fake this?
And the Mars rover, don't forget that.
That's Mars rover and Curiosity. And Elvis.
It's funny how why do all these rumors and urban legends revolve around New Mexico? What is up with that place? Why are they burying it?
Fun, dude.
Isn't it great though when your game sucks and you're like, shit, this game is terrible. What do we need to do? Bury it. We take them all and we bury them so nobody can buy this product. That's great, and that would have been that would have been a fun meeting to sit in. Yeah,
because that's marketing genius there. What do we do when our game is so shit that nobody will buy? You know what we do? We pay millions for a mass marketing campaign and trick everybody into buying it.
Star Citizen. No.
Yeah, any chance to throw in Star Citizen hate is more than welcome.
Oh, actually, did you see the post I did on Twitch Universe this past week where I basically said, enough is enough. This whole thing is beginning to smell like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I can't even argue for it anymore. I was so pro Star Citizen and so excited to see this game, and then it's getting harder and harder to hang on to that just because there's still no results.
You sound like a guy who just found out his prom date's not going.
Oh, she got sick. And that's basically what's happened to Star Citizen.
She got the clap.
Yep. It wasn't all it turned out to be.
You didn't get the goods you were promised. Oh. Goods that were promised. XP.
After all that whining and dining.
Getting and the sex you're getting, you don't want.
There's a lot of wine and dine for that little handy.
Oh, God. Paul, did you put this one about Nadella and Microsoft? And
yes, I put this in here.
Why don't you start the conversation off?
Right. So we all know that Windows XP has come and gone. Yep. We all know that for the past 5 years we've been hearing, XP is going to die. You need to upgrade. Support is going to end. You need to upgrade. Extended support is going to end. You need to upgrade. Here is your date. This is when it happens. If you miss that date, you're an idiot, right? We've been saying it on podcast.
And come back, Paul. Come back.
For the viewers who might have been unplugged for the past few days, we've been getting some pretty nasty storms here in the south. Unfortunately, I think his internet is one of the victims, along with apparently people who are using very old IE versions. But,
I know.
So it's a 0-day attack for all versions of IE from 6 to 11, which is a hell of a product range. And so what do? I mean, technically all this stuff is EOL and discontinued, but it's kind of a risky thing to not fix. But if you fix it, then it's technically not EOL anymore. And then will people expect future fixes and future patches? You know, it's kind of a toss-up.
Paul, continue.
All I heard was David saying toss-up, so I don't know.
I was saying to you... So it is a hell of a product range that is affected, IE6 to IE11. So do you fix it? And then if you do fix it, it's technically not EOL anymore. And then do people expect future fixes?
Oh, you fix it, right? You fix it. But you fix it. Where do you fix it? In the browsers that you currently support. All right? Like, XP is beyond end of life, right? Apple doesn't support operating systems that are generally any more than 3 years old. Okay? Why the freeloading half of the internet seems to think that Microsoft has to support a product that, you know, I have kids that are 9 and 10 and they're younger than Internet Explorer, just are younger than XP. Think about that for a minute. I've got a 10-year-old and he's younger than Windows XP.
I was in a government building the other day. I had some stuff to take care of, and in Ontario, government buildings, the agencies in there are still using XP.
Yeah,
I'm sure Paul's familiar with, especially in the healthcare industry. Windows XP, it's still out there. There's a lot of old software.
We have a lot of the problem with that is, you know, just having a Windows XP on your network is a HIPAA violation if you're in the medical industry. So if you haven't upgraded yet, you have to, because if you're audited, you are busted. But from Microsoft's point of view, if they go back and look, fix this in everything that you actually provide support for, fine. Don't fix it in XP. To suggest that this would win you goodwill is utter bollocks. What it will do is it will set a precedent that you're now going to continue to fix XP every time something big comes along. So
you're committed.
So the freeloaders now no longer have an excuse to upgrade to, you know, Windows 7 or Windows 8. Microsoft is not a charity as much as a large percentage of the internet seems to think it is. If this was Apple, would people be telling them to go back and fix bugs in an 11-year-old product?
Well, Apple would laugh at them.
Yeah, Apple would laugh at them and then tell them, like they say, they need to upgrade. And then, but to Apple's credit, they do offer their most modern OS for $14. So it's a little bit more reasonable if you're running 10.6 or whatever to upgrade, because it's a lot more reasonably priced than Windows. So,
but it doesn't look. Even the cost of Windows, right? Which has come down considerably, and it looks like it's about to come down even more considerably, right? I mean, what did I pay for Windows 8 Pro?
I paid $49 on launch.
Yeah, mine was the promo. I think it was about $40 or $50.
Yeah, but now it's like what, 119 or something?
And that's just the cost of the OS. Keep in mind, these users will probably need assistance migrating all of their stuff, because we all know how Windows Upgrade or in-place installations work.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing, right? We have to draw the line somewhere and say, look, you purchase this, that's fine, right? But you purchase this knowing that there's an end of support date. There's no excuse for you to upgrade. Right? If this was Apple, would people be telling them to go back and fix bugs in an 11-year-old product? No, knowing that there's an end of life date. And if you're too ignorant, too stupid, too unwilling to educate yourself, it's not rockets.
No, it's not rocket science. It's just, I don't know. The thing is, I agree with Paul that there's got to be a solid cut date.
Sure.
You know, and this guy who wrote this on Mashable is, I'm sorry, as Paul has said pre-show, he's an idiot. You know, I don't know. But hey, let's go on to something happier that we all have been looking so forward to. We are just dying to talk about. They finally announced the cast for Star Wars Episode 7, J.J. Abrams' version of the reboot.
Not a whole lot of surprises. You know, we all hope that Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford would be part of it. And it was a good chance that they would be. A lot of the newer actors are people that I am not familiar with at all.
They did say there's 3 unknown or previously unknown actors and actresses that are being brought into the series.
Mm-hmm. And did they go into what roles everyone would be playing?
No, they didn't.
So what we have is a bunch of names now, and
right.
Yeah, and
definitely have a list of names.
And one more actress to come. So basically, everybody that we figured was going to be in it
is in it,
and
Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow, what's he doing?
The Exorcist, Minority Report, that guy.
Oh, okay. But are you guys even thrilled about this movie coming out? Like, does it do it? Like, I honestly think Star Wars has had its time. Enough is enough.
Especially after looking at pictures of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher.
God.
Talk about having their time, their day. The only one that looks decent out of any of these guys is Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford is just a boss. But I don't know, this movie, I just don't have a lot of faith in it after seeing what J.J. Abrams did to Star Trek.
Here's the problem. They know they're going to make money because every Star Wars fan is going to go out and watch it.
Oh, we're all going to go see it.
You will. You will.
Absolutely.
We'll do it out of sheer obligation, no matter how bad it is. We'll watch them all out of sheer morbid curiosity because of the love we hold for the first 3 original films.
Okay, let's just kind of take a little trip down the future road here. The movie gets done. Movie hits the theaters. Is this going to be a multi-billion-dollar movie or just a billion?
With CGI, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be super expensive.
No, I'm talking
or
about
super
money
profitable.
Money coming in. I mean, what's the box office going to be like?
This could be super profitable if they don't spend a lot of money to make it. It's hard for a movie to be profitable now. If you spend $600 million making a movie or $500 million making a movie, and then you spend another, $300 or $400 million marketing that movie, how in the name of hell can you ever be super profitable?
Do you remember? I don't know if you would or not, but for the longest time, movies were not that expensive to make, and then along came Dances with Wolves. It was one of the first movies to cross over the $100 million cost. And everybody was up in arms about how this was going to ruin the movie industry, and then nobody would, it was going to be a disaster. Then, a couple of years later, we're up to 175 million with Waterworld. That was kind of a flop, but
I know we don't balk at 500 million, like $500 million.
Yeah, I know.
To make a damn movie.
It should be able to. Well, at least the actor salaries aren't going to be very much, because these are a bunch of nobodies, and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill aren't exactly very busy right now.
She's there for the drugs, man.
Well, here's the thing. I know that with the Avatar series, they're expecting the cost for the next two movies to be, which they're doing back to back, is going to be over $1 billion.
I didn't even know they were making a new Avatar, but
Yeah,
that's not surprising because those are tech extravaganzas, and just a foray into unlimited budget animation and special effects. And that doesn't surprise me because I think most of their cost is derived from the visuals. And based on J.J. Abrams' track record, that would not surprise me if this was the case as well. And he goes with very expensive effects, just like the Star Trek series. So we'll see it when it comes out. Like Paul said, we're all going to go see it, whether or not we want to, or whether or not it's poorly reviewed and gets 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. We're still going to go see it. It's a new Star Wars movie.
What do you think? No, here, if it comes out and the reviews are just god awful, do you think it might actually fail?
I don't think a Star Wars movie can fail. Just like the Star Trek movie, there's just no way that any of those would fail because there's too many loyal fans that are loyal only to the series and not the actual content itself. And that's something that we see in movies, especially movies, but games as well. Even games that are released in the same series, people will go play them just because it's, a Max Payne or it's a World of Warcraft expansion. Whether or not it's any good or not is almost irrelevant, but especially with movies. Okay. I'll let Ice Cube's recent movie speak for itself.
Okay, Paul just messaged me via his phone. His internet is crapped out on him. You have what is this pic you've got here? The R2-D2 figure.
So it's just like a very detailed I think it's a 1/6 scale replica, but I don't know. It's just a cool little animatronic R2-D2 that just looks really good. Like a lot less of a toy and more of an actual like reproduction, like an adult toy, if you will.
Just sort of something nice to sit on the desk, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Mine, and you've been playing it for the last 2 nights, I think, haven't you? 2 nights or just one night?
I have. I haven't put a whole lot of hours into it. I'm about on hour 4 or 5 or so, but yes.
Landmark by SOE is being my newest addiction when it comes to gaming. I absolutely love that game. And it's only in closed beta, so it's going to cost you a few bucks to get into it if you want. But I'll tell you something, it's worth the $20.
I would definitely agree with you there. And there's a whole lot of, okay, so just to kind of fill people in on what it is, but basically, so EverQuest is making a new expansion pack. Landmark was basically a kind of a thought experiment. These were tools that were developed to help shape the next EverQuest that turned out to be very fun to play with. So they released it as a separate game or a separate beta. Not released it, but it's in development as a separate game called Landmark. And basically it's just these terraforming tools, axes, picks, other ways to shape dirt and other materials to create things that are on a very precise scale. And what's cool about it is it's voxel based kind of, but unlike Minecraft, the voxels can be different sizes. So we're not stuck using these huge pixelated, boxes. You can create amazing things.
Now, here's one thing you and I should clarify right now. This is not a Minecraft clone in the least.
No.
And to compare it to Minecraft, I don't think is quite right.
Yeah, it's only comparable to Minecraft in the sense that it is a sandbox. In its truest form, this game is a sandbox. There's a lot of stuff that's not out yet that I wish was, because right now you can basically just build static objects in any level of detail. It's truly amazing what people have made. But what is I guess the turnoff for me is that, there's just I can't go in vehicles yet. I can't really interact with anything. I can just build it. There's no survival or mobs, and all this stuff is coming soon and will be released. And, unlike Star Citizen, this is a developer that we can trust to deliver this content. and I have no doubt that it'll be out eventually. But in the meantime, it is a whole lot of fun.
I never thought that I would have so much fun mining or cutting down trees or hopping between worlds, because that's basically what you're doing. But here's the thing. They are very committed to this game, as SOE is. I was going to say, Omid, who's dropped into Dizzy's channel and it says something, I can't remember what it is. But yeah, they definitely want this to stand on its own. And I think they've got a real winner with this. And the nice thing is, and they've already said this, the exceptional creations from Landmark will show up in EverQuest. And as a matter of fact, one of the creators of something in Landmark is being hired by SOE to work on EverQuest and Landmark.
I love that. That's so cool. And in game, it has basically a like and a feedback system where you can go and vote on people's creations. And there was at the recent PAX, the NVIDIA presentation, they had one of the lead devs from Landmark who came and showed some stuff off that we actually visited on Dizzy's stream in game.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to actually see it and walk around. It was like a sci-fi bunker that was pretty cool. But yeah, the stuff that people are coming up with is amazing.
Well, like I've watched the stream, like the chat window as Dizzy's gone around in the world of Landmark, and people are just going, what the fuck is that? How did they make that? What is that? Like, it's just literally blowing people's minds.
It is. And I had mentioned this in stream earlier. And what's cool about it is they're fairly rudimentary tools as far as, graphic design. You can build and shape things in a very basic sense. But just imagine when they hire these people who are creating these incredible things and give them a team that can do textures and models and make it like a real part of the game and do it right. I think there's going to be some amazing content that's going to come out of this. So this is definitely something cool to get into. You can get into it on the ground floor. Just the starter pack, I think, is it's $20.
Yeah, $20.
And you can get into it already. It is closed beta, so you will have to get your way into it. But for $20, it is a hell of a purchase.
I'll put the link in with the post for this show. I'll put the link in to where you can sign up for the ground floor beta. But I could talk about Landmark for hours. So we're going to call this to a close, or else I'm going to get totally carried away. Thank you for listening, folks. We're sorry Paul has had a really hard time tonight with his internet. Apparently he's getting hit bad by storms. So it's just me and Dave saying good night to you both. You got any final words for the folks, Dave?
No, not really. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but we'll be back next week. Check us out.
And on that note, folks, this is Stephen Hodson, Dave DeGaulle, and an absent Paul O'Flaherty saying good night, and we will see you next week for another show. But in the meantime, remember one thing, keep it geek. You have been listening to the Geek Dimensions On-Air podcast with Stephen Hodson, Paul O'Flaherty, and David Gall. You can send any feedback about this or any of our other episodes to feedback@geekdimensions.com or by leaving a comment on the post. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus as Geek Dimensions. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, and podcastpd.org, or you can use our RSS feed for the show. The music used in the show is Metro by Sleek Thief. The On-Air podcast is the official podcast of Geek Dimensions and everyone living a geek's life.